Hello everybody, it's Elisa with Momtastic Life and welcome to my channel if you are new, and welcome back if this is not your first rodeo over here. So today is another bake with me video, and we are going savory today. We are going to bake some rosemary garlic focaccia bread. Yum! How delicious does that sound? That sounds totally good to me. It'll be my first time doing this, so you'll be coming along for the ride, and we can only hope it turns out. However, how bad could it be if there is garlic involved? Yes, and I'm so excited, and I don't know why, but I am. And another thing I don't know is what my hair is doing. I decided to get it up today, and now it's swinging around like crazy, but whatever. This is me. So I also decided to look like semi-human and not run over, and I did my eyes for you. Actually, it's just a little mascara. What do you think? Maybe this is better, magnified. I don't know. Okay, I'm feeling silly today. So let's turn around, take a look at our ingredients, and then we'll get on to baking. All right, so this bread does not take very many ingredients. The one thing that we do not have up here yet is water, which we will need to dissolve the yeast. And here's my bowl. Let's move it to the side. So our other ingredients today are rosemary, some table salt. Of course, we need this entire package of yeast. And I love when it's just one package because then I don't waste any. Olive oil, garlic, my favorite. You guys, if you don't like garlic, why not? So it calls for 3 to 5 cloves of garlic. We're going with 5 to 6 just because we can. It also calls for sea salt, and here is my dilemma. This is coarse ground sea salt, so it's kind of bigger pieces, chunkier, and this is regular sea salt, which is smaller or finer. Which one do I use, you guys? I don't know. Maybe I'll mix them. We shall see. All right, we also have some flour, which I need to fill up again, and here is a brand new bag. A little bit of sugar, and that is it, you guys. That is it. So very basic ingredients. This recipe does not require me to use my KitchenAid or my dough hook. We're going to mix by hand, and it should be 1, 2, 3. So let's get baking. All right, and we're back. We had a small battery issue, so I know you don't know it because this will all be edited together, but it's been a little bit. Okay, so to get started on our rosemary garlic focaccia bread, we are going to proof the yeast, which means basically it's got to sit in the water and sugar for a few minutes to be ready to use. So in here I have 1 3/4 cup of lukewarm water. And we're just going to pour that in. And then we are going to add some sugar. And it is only 1.5 teaspoons of sugar. So, all right, you guys know I need my glasses to see what in God's name is happening. All right, 1 teaspoon. And 1/2 teaspoon. Okay. And that's all the sugar that this recipe gets, actually. So we're just gonna set this aside. And now we add our yeast. And it's just the 1 full packet. Okay, it's perfectly portioned for this recipe, which I love. Because usually I end up wasting some of it. And we're just gonna pour that in there, the whole thing. Nope, I hear some granules. Make sure we get all in there. Yes. Okay. So now we are actively proofing yeast. It is not that hard. And now we wait. We have to let this sit for about 10 to 15 minutes until it's a little bubbly and ready to use. So let the waiting begin. Okay, we're ready. So it has been approximately 14 minutes. Our yeast is proofed, okay? So I don't know how well you can see this, but it's kind of foamy and it smells like that yeasty. If you ever drive by like a brewing factory or beer factory or something, that really yeasty smell from beer, and I don't drink, but I know this. That's what it smells like, really strongly. This recipe calls for 4.5 cups of flour, 4 to 4.5 cups of flour. And you'll find that with bread recipes, they never give you an exact measurement. And when I first started doing the bread thing, I was like, why? How do we know? How? Why? But what I have learned is that you put in, typically it'll tell you how much to start with. In this case, we'll start with 4 full cups. And then depending on what your dough feels like and looks like, you may or may not need to add some more. So I have not perfected exactly knowing always exactly what to put in there. I know that was a lot of words, but typically what I'll do is I'll put in like the amount that it says, and then like this says 4 to 4.5. So I'll put in the 4, and if I'm not sure, instead of adding the full extra half cup, maybe I'll add a 1/4 cup. I kind of go in between there. So right now we're going to put in the 4 cups it's telling us to put in right away. This was 1 cup. I've pre-measured it out. And this is 3 cups. There we go, floppity flop. All right. And we're going to start stirring this up. Okay. And also at this point, the recipe says to add in a tablespoon of our olive oil, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon, this is 1 teaspoon, this is 1/2, and this is the table salt that we're using right now. So 1/2 teaspoon of salt, get that in there, and let's say 1/2 tablespoon, 1/2 teaspoon, 1 tablespoon of the olive oil. And I have my recipe right here on my laptop. No, I don't memorize all of my recipes. They are usually right off the camera where I can see them. Because if I could memorize all of my recipes, boy, that would make me awesome, right? So awesome. 1 tablespoon of olive oil, in you go. All right, and we will need more olive oil later for the top, but we'll leave that there for now, and mix. So the thing about making bread is that you really have to have time, because most breads I have found need to rise. So you have to be able to get your dough mixed up and then hang out while it rises. I mean, I guess you could leave your house. I'm not saying you're stuck. I guess we are kind of stuck, huh, in the pandemic. This is kind of sticky, but you know what, maybe I'll just put in a little, because we put in 4 cups. We could possibly add up to another 1/2 cup, so maybe I will just throw in like another 1/4 cup. Like I said, I tend to go in the middle. I figure you can't go wrong with that. Oh my gosh. You guys with your glasses. It's a pain in my butt to take them on and off all day. Okay. Yeah, I know as I get older, things are going to get a lot worse. I have no illusion that they are going to get a lot better for physical stuff, but dudes, all right, 1/4 cup. Let's go with this. All right, it's about 1/4 cup. We're going to add this in. Why am I afraid this is too much? All right, I put about 1/2 of that in, just to make sure that this is going to incorporate. You know what? I feel like this is enough. So we're just gonna return that other portion and be done with the flour. Done with the flour. All right, let's take our spoon out. Now, we're getting ready. Get ready. We're getting ready to wait again. Okay, so now what happens? Yeah, I think this is good. So now we have to transfer the dough into a lightly oiled bowl. So I'm just gonna pour a little bit of oil directly into the bowl. You can see, use my fingers, rub it around the bowl. Okay, is this lightly oiled? Maybe. Is this heavily oiled? Maybe. All right, and because I feel like it was a little more than lightly, I know my feelings are all over the place today, right? I am gonna take said absorbent napkin and just give it a wipe so it's not like excess oil. Nobody wants excessively oiled anything. We're gonna take the dough, turn this out, turning this dough out, baby, into our lightly oiled bowl. I'm hoping that this is going to be a good batter. We shall see. And what we need to do is get a little of this oil from the side of the bowl onto our fingers to help us not be so sticky. Okay, and we're just going to take the dough and turn it over so that both sides of this dough end up with some oil on it from the bowl. Okay, and we're just going to let it sit here. We're going to throw a towel over this. Just says lightly cover. So I just have a dish towel. It's clean, people. We're going to throw it over, and we're just going to let it sit somewhere warm for about an hour, and it's going to double in size. Now, I'm saying now a lot. It is 100 degrees out here today, or close to it, and I have my slider open, so my house is warm enough. And I'm just going to move this over out of the way, way over here, and sit it on the stove. I'm also going to set my timer for an hour and let that sit. All right, so I got my other dishes out of the way, and while the dough is rising over there, we're going to make the topping for the bread, which is olive oil, sea salt, rosemary, and garlic. Like, how bad can this be? Seriously. So we're going to take 2 tablespoons of olive oil. 2 tablespoons, that's 1. That's 2. 2 tablespoons olive oil. I'm gonna say 5 tablespoons rosemary. That would be freaking a lot of rosemary, people. 1.5 tablespoons of rosemary. So here is my rosemary. 1.5 tablespoons. All right, it's going to be the easiest way to pour this out. All right, this works. 1 and a half. Now I'm just filling this tablespoon up halfway, but eek, that's a lot. For future reference, 1 tablespoon is equal to 3 teaspoons. So you could just do 3 teaspoons, which would be 1.5 teaspoons for half a tablespoon. All right, good enough. And our salt. Okay, so here's the question, right? Our sea salt. Do I use the regular sea salt? Do I use the big crunchy sea salt? And I think I've decided to go with the regular sea salt because I don't want crunchy salt crystals on my bread. Does that sound right? I'm not absolutely sure that I'm making the right choice here, but we shall see. I mean, salt is salt. I think it's just a texture thing, and besides, it's only 1/2 teaspoon. Am I right? It's only 1/2 teaspoon? No, it's 1.5 teaspoons. Okay, 1.5 teaspoons of our sea salt. So here's our 1 teaspoon. was a little over, and here's our half of a teaspoon. Is this, no, none of these fit in there to scoop out. All right, and lastly, garlic. Yes. So it said 3 to 5 cloves of garlic. I've peeled 5 cloves, and we have to mince this, and I'm gonna mince this right here for you guys because I have a question. This is my garlic press, okay? So we put the garlic in here where the little hole is, and let's just throw in, we can throw in a couple at a time actually. Well, maybe let's do the smushy one. Okay, so we have our garlic press. We flip it over, press it out. All right, there we go. Oh my God, so good. All right, so there's 2 of them. Just gonna scrape this off. Guys, I'm on my tippy toes again. Why do I feel the need to get higher than my bowl? Come on. All right. So my question is, what is this? What is this for? I don't understand it. Okay. Do I go here and like, is this a thing? I don't know. All I know is that like the outer skin part of the garlic gets stuck in here, and I just pull that right out to put in the next clove. And I'll do it again. All right, here's clove number 3 getting smushed to oblivion. I feel so strong when I do this. All right, clove number 3. Okay, so seriously, guys, I don't know what the red part of this press is for or what it does. Am I supposed to even use it? Is it decorative? I don't know. So please, if you guys are knowledgeable about garlic presses, will you leave me a comment and tell me what the heck I'm supposed to do with it? I might be missing something great. I have no idea. All right, so we'll leave this. And I just wanted to tell you guys my garlic hack, which if you cook at all, you are probably well aware of the garlic hack and how to peel garlic. So here's 1 extra clove I just held out. And if you struggle with peeling garlic, lay it on its side. Grab a knife and take the flat edge of the knife, so we're not cutting. Lay it on the garlic and give it a good whack, good pound. This will loosen all the skin up so you can just peel it right off, which makes things a lot easier. All right, so we're just gonna mix this together. You guys, this smells so good. So good. Like, I'm sure there's gotta be something I can put this on right now. All right. And this is what it looks like. And I'm just gonna toss this into the fridge until we're ready to use it, because it's gonna be some time between the rising and the baking and the bread shenanigans before we're ready to spread this stuff on. But we wanna get every little bit out because it's deliciousness. All right, I feel like I could start like a musical instrument. All right, I know. Just keeps getting lamer. All right, off to the fridge. Okay, and now we wait for the dough to rise and then we move on. Okay, so in real time, it has been about an hour. So like, I've had lunch, I've talked to the kid, I've chatted with the husband, I've watched the news, that kind of thing. But in YouTube time, it's next clip, here we go. So we're gonna uncover our bread. Oh yeah, and you can see it's like now filling up the whole bottom half of the bowl. So it's definitely risen up. And now we are going to put it into a pan. And this is a jelly roll pan. This recipe required a jelly roll pan. And I know, what the heck does that mean? What is a jelly roll pan? I will tell you, I know things. A jelly roll pan is basically a baking pan with edges, and it measures about 10 and a half, what is it, 10 and a half by 15 and a half. Whereas a regular typical cookie pan is closer to like a 12 by 18 measure. So it's basically a cookie pan with edges that's a little bit smaller. So it says to oil well the jelly roll pan, but I'm actually going to put down a piece of parchment to help. You don't need a lot. Whoop! I love when that happens. Right, we're going to flip it over. And now the recipe requires us to turn the dough onto the jelly roll pan and fit it in here. And I'm going to oil my hands up just a little bit so it doesn't stick, and so I can actually also rub some of the oil onto the parchment paper, just because I'm not sure. Ah, that's a lot of oil. Okay, we're going to not take this much oil. Whoops. All right. All right. Nice and shiny. And we're just going to rub the parchment. Okay, so now we're going to take our dough and put it into our jelly roll pan, which I'm always like, how do I do this? Do I lift it out? We actually want to give the dough a little knead down first. Kind of all that time we just spent letting it rise and get all airy and full. Yeah, we're going to blow that. To take my rings off. Hello. All right, I'm not saying they are or they aren't sticky with dough, but we're just taking them off. And we are going to somehow. Does it look like it's working? So we have it pressed into our jelly roll pan, and the next step is to actually just cover it again loosely. We're not doing like a tight wrap, so we're just going to throw our towel over it. Okay. And 30 minutes. Okay, so we have to let it rise 30 minutes. And actually, it is not out of the norm to have a second rise when you're doing bread. Most breads I have found require a second rise. It's typically a lot shorter than the first rise. So in 30 minutes, we'll be ready to get the topping on, pop it into the oven, make my house smell like a wonderful garlicky hubbub of bread, right? And we'll see how it comes out. So we'll see you in 30. So our rise time is done. Yes, that was the last rise. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, that's nice. Okay, so, all right, I don't know how well you guys can see this. It is a little uneven. It's kind of like it's a little higher over here and a little lower over here. So there was more dough up on the right and a little lower over here. Okay, so what does this tell us? My technique could use some work. Absolutely. So what you need to do now is, oh, there's a bubble. Using your fingers, you can dimple the dough. And so basically that means to make like little marks in it. Now, thank goodness for pandemic, because there are no nails here, which makes dimpling much easier. Had I had long nails, like I typically do, this would have been interesting. Okay, I guess it's dimpling. Dimply, dimply, dimply. And maybe when it's cooked, we will see the dimples more than we do now. I don't know if you can see these little dimply pock marks. Oh yeah, look. Okay, I think you can. Fantastic. And remember that mixture we made earlier? The garlic, the salt, the rosemary. Oh my God. And when I opened my fridge, you guys, it smells so, so good. So now we're going to take this and just spread it or brush it over the top of our dough. Oh yeah. All right. And I wonder if I need a little more. No, it looks like there's plenty of oil, but so while this was going through the second rise, I put my oven on 375 degrees, and this is going to cook for 35 to 40 minutes. So I'll give you a close look at what it looks like before it goes into the oven, and then we'll take a look, of course, when it comes out and give it a taste test. All right, here is what it looks like before. Which way? There we go. All right, absolutely beautiful. We're going to throw this into the oven with our oven rack right in the center. Okay. And set our timer. Now it says 35 to 40 minutes. I always start the timer at a minute less than the directions say because I want to make sure to never overcook something. I tend to like my baked items and breads closer to the lower cook time than the higher cook time. So I set my oven for 34 minutes and then we'll check it. All right, timer just went off. Oh my gosh, you guys, this smells so amazing. Look at that. Holy moly. Oh yeah. All right. We are gonna let this cool. Did you just see me jerk? I put the hot oven mitt on my leg because I'm that awesome. And it totally burned. We are gonna let this cool for just about 10 minutes. We're gonna cut it up and taste it while it's still warm. And I think I'm even gonna grab hubby in here to see what he thinks. And we'll let you know. All right, guys, the time of truth has come. We're gonna lift this bad boy out on the parchment paper. Or actually, we're gonna kind of slide it out as it falls out. And I have my pizza cutter here. It's solid on the edges, guys. I have my pizza cutter here. So let's see. How do you cut a focaccia? That is a question. And all right, last one, and then we taste. All right, and I dragged hubby in to taste it with me. He's just off camera. He doesn't want to jump in too soon. All right, how's the cut? All right, hubby, come here. All right, moment of truth. Take a bite.
Take a small piece.
No, we can share.
No, take small.
Oh, okay. He doesn't share his bread with me. What is that? All right, give it a try. Tell me what you think. Oh, together. Okay. This is my life. Oh, it's good.
Mm-hmm. It's why the answer is so short.
I know. See?
The taste on top. It's on top.
It's garlic, rosemary, sea salt, and olive oil.
Oh, it's not made inside. Okay.
So here's the inside. Inside is plain.
Oh, wow.
But
That's
the
good.
top is
Yeah.
good.
The top is really good.
Is this
The bread is good, but you taste it, the top is good.
Is this a thumbs up, baby?
Mm-hmm.
Thumbs up. Awesome. All right. Cheers.
Wow.
All right, you guys. So the focaccia, definite win. Thumbs up. And I think I made a really good choice in using the regular sea salt as opposed to the larger grain sea salt. I think if I had used the larger grain, it would have been a little bit too much on top and a little bit too crunchy because you can definitely taste the salt. It's not a shy spice. Is salt a spice? I don't know, but it's not a shy flavor. Let's go with that. Anyway, thumbs up for the focaccia. thank you for joining me on this bake with me today. And if there's anything that you guys want to see me bake, if there's anything you want to see me try my hand at or fail miserably at, I don't know, depends how complex it is, let me know in the comments and I'll gladly try whatever you guys want to see. And while you're down there, please subscribe and hit the thumbs up for this video. And I'm gonna sit here and eat a bit, but I'll see you next time. Thanks so much, guys. Bye-bye.